The Big Six is a research process and also commonly known as an information problem-solving strategy that is designed to help you tackle your research in a series of steps, 6 steps to be exact. Let's take a look at each step to help you better understand the Big Six process. Watch the video below for a brief overview of the Big Six, then continue with the lesson for a detailed explanation of each step in the Big Six process. Step 1 of the Big Six is the task definition. This is when you define the research or the job ahead of you. What is your task? This step would include picking and narrowing a topic. Think of research as a problem to solve with questions that must be answered. Determine the information of the problem to be solved. Reformulate a complete statement of the task. In other words, restate it in your own words what your research assignment and research task are. Pick out key words you will need from your research questions. Ask good research questions. Understand and follow printed and/or oral directions about your assignment. Recognizing the kinds of information you need to solve your information problem is also a part of Step 1. If your presentation includes a visual component like PowerPoint slides, you might need to include images and charts and graphs or other kinds of information. Recognizing how much information you need is also part of Step 1. The amount of information you need for a 5-question worksheet is going to be quite different than a 10-page term paper. Knowing what kind of information sources you will need will get you to your answers more quickly. Step 2 of the Big Six is information-seeking strategies. With the information-seeking strategies, now you have your task identified. In Step 2, you will be finding sources that will be the most helpful for your task. This is an important time to be familiar with our electronic resources. On our library webpage, you will find a list of databases with a description. The description allows you to rule out any databases you won't need. Considering your information-seeking strategies does not mean figuring out how you will search online. Many students are disappointed that not all information can be found on the internet. Step 2 also includes evaluating your sources. You can refer to RADCAB, which is later in our presentation. Selecting the best sources means determining which sources on your list are reliable, authoritative, current, objective, and relevant. Step 3 of the Big Six process is location and access. This step takes you to the library shelves or to your Chromebook. This is when you physically access the books, newspapers, electronic databases, etc. Sitting down and searching the internet sources online is also part of Step 3. All of this would be the location part of this step. The access part is actually finding the information you need within the found sources. This may mean using the index. It may mean looking at different chapters within your book, checking the table of contents, looking at a chapter or a paragraph or even the headings of an article. Then pulling that relevant information for your task. Knowing how to do this is important for your searching and for your task identification. Step 4 of the Big Six is use of information. The previous 2 steps focused on where to find and gather your information. This step focuses on using the information you find. This is when you look at the information you found and determine what information is relevant. During this step, you are carefully reading and reviewing and listening to your information and understanding it, and setting aside any information that does not help you with your task. During this process, you should continually be reminding yourself, what details do I need to complete my information task? You should be summarizing, paraphrasing, or quoting the facts and details you find. Also, during this step, you need to decide, how will I record the information I find? Do I want to use note cards? Do I want to use Google Docs? Do I want to write down or draw pictures? Do I want to use notebook paper, a graphic organizer? Is there another way that I can record the information I'm finding? Something else that you need to be paying attention to in this step is, are you crediting your sources? We will talk about giving your sources, by citing your sources. We will be talking about that later also. You need to definitely make sure that you cite your sources when you are doing research. Step 5 of the Big Six is synthesis. How are you going to put everything together? This is where you're going to organize everything. You're going to compare, you're going to combine, you're going to present your information. This is where you finish your task. Synthesis means determining the best way to assemble, organize, and share your information that meets your original research task. This may be where you decide how you will share your information. Are you going to do it on a Google Slides? Are you going to do a Canva? Are you going to use other multimedia tools? Are you going to write a written report? Are you going to do an oral presentation? In any presentation, you do need to consider your audience. What message will you be sharing? And the information you will be presenting before you worry about the software or web tool you will use to present it. Checking your rubric that your teacher has provided will also help you with the synthesis stage to see how you can best present the information that you have found. Step 6 of the Big Six is evaluation. You've all heard the saying, learn from your mistakes. Well, you can also learn from your successes as well. In step 6, you have to figure out how successful you were in your research, what you did well, what you did not do well, and what you might do differently the next time you have a similar research assignment. In step 6, you should be evaluating the final product as well as the processes you used for your information problem solving. Using a research process like the Big Six is like everything else in life. The more you use it, the easier it becomes. The more you use the Big Six and evaluate how it worked for you, the better you will be at completing any research assignment.